Good afternoon, Mr. X's students. We're beginning week 2 of vocabulary, and today we're going to learn about the word potential, which is, notice that it's different. In Spanish it's spelled with a C, in English it's spelled with a T, right here. So don't spell it with a C. But it is similar to the word potencial in Spanish. So it has two meanings. Adjective meaning is that can develop into something or be developed in the future. It's that meaning. And then noun is a quality that exists and can be developed. So in both of these you have the idea of something being developed. So it's like, you have something that it's not there now, but it can be there in the future. And we know that it can be there in the future. That's basically the idea. So, and it's easy to make examples for this with learning at school, because teachers always talk about this. We want to develop people's potential, develop your qualities that exist. Everybody already knows some things. For example, people know some things about how to write, but we want to develop your writing skills that you already have so that you have even better writing skills. You have a quality inside you that didn't happen yet, but it's waiting to come out and be developed. When you learn new things, then you can do new things. So your potential is a quality that already exists, but it can grow into something bigger or better. And that the noun is, we talk about your potential, right? We develop your potential. But then also the adjective potential, we say a potential something. A potential, so we could say like a potential professional, a potential. Every child in the United States, in theory, is a potential president, although they won't all become president, but we say that. Every child is a potential president of the United States. Even Donald Trump. Sorry to let my political views get involved. Even Hillary Clinton, we'll say the other side too. Word families are, so let's talk about the sentence over here. So we have, this is with the adjective. So a potential writer hides inside every human being. Not literally, but in a sense, we all could be a writer because we all have stories to tell. So we could all become writers. We have that inside us and we can develop it and become writers because everyone has a story. That's the idea of that sentence. All right, and then word families. So potentially, and I forgot to write the part of speech. I believe, this is embarrassing, I believe that potentially...
it's an adverb.
An adverb, yes. I think it is. Well, I was going to say, what do we usually look at? What is the clue that it's an adverb is ly. So it's an adverb, but it's the kind of adverb that can, this adverb often describes other adjectives or other adverbs. So, like we'd say, this is potentially interesting. So that's why it's not, potentially describes interesting. So it's not like most adverbs. Many adverbs describe verbs, but I don't think potentially usually describes a verb. You don't say, I walked potentially. That doesn't make sense. But potentially describes often an adjective. So it's one of those kinds of adverbs that do that describe adverbs or other adjectives. Synonyms. So we have possible, and possible for the adjective, possibility for the noun, and then we have potentiality also for the noun, and capability. Capability, if someone is capable of doing something, then they can do it. So it's almost the same. But potential has more of an emphasis on the future. Like, they can't quite do it yet. We know they will be able to, but it didn't happen quite yet. Latent is another word that's very similar to potential. But latent can sometimes be negative. You'll read a poem in the 4th quarter that talks about latent rapists, that people can become rapists. That's a negative thing. Potential tends to be usually positive, I would say. Usually. Although not necessarily, it's not part of the definition, but usually with the connotation, the feeling, we usually use it in a positive way. Most of the time, I think. And I have some example sentences. I did one with each of the parts of speech. So with the noun, students work hard to develop their potential by learning new things. And you notice that is not plural because I would say the noun potential is uncountable usually. You wouldn't say their potentials. You just say their potential. No S, because it's an uncountable. And then adjective, so this is the noun. And how do we know it's the noun? Because it's a thing. We develop what? They develop their potential. Here it's the adjective because it's describing a noun. So we say every person is a potential college graduate. Potential is the adjective that describes what kind of graduate. That would mean that even if you didn't go to college yet, you can eventually, if you work hard, graduate from college. So those are my examples for the word potential. And hope that you enjoyed this installment of vocabulary. And thank you to the student camera people who are filming me every day.